Hello and Assalamu alaikum. My name is Imra Iftikhar, and today I'm going to do my first ever book review on this channel. And yes, I have a mic now. Okay. People were complaining that audio quality is not good, so I decided to get some equipment. Although I hate equipment, I do not like dealing with equipments. Anyhow, it was necessary. The book that I'm going to review today is a philosophy book, a non-fiction book, and it is about how we can learn to sit with our own mortality. So, if that is your cup of tea, if you want to learn about that, if you're interested in it, this video is for you. And if you find it unsettling and you don't want to know anything about it, you can just ignore the video. Okay, because today I'm going to review the book Death by Todd May. So, literally, the title is Death. I'm going to discuss that what does philosophy say about death and the fact that we are mortals and how to deal with it. You can watch this video after reading the book, or you can watch this video if you don't want to read the book, because I am definitely going to cover everything, all the important points that he raised in his book. So let's begin. Before talking about the book, I think I should introduce you to the author, Todd May, who he really is. Todd May is a philosopher. He has written over 18 books. He taught at Clemson University for over 30 years. And these days he's teaching at Warren Wilson University. And there's something that I read about him, and after knowing that, I respect him a lot. That he actually teaches philosophy to the people who are in prisons, to the imprisoned people. So he's not someone who is just sitting in an ivory tower. He genuinely believes, and he actually is doing something for teaching philosophy to everyone, for making it accessible for everyone. Okay, and basically he teaches moral philosophy, so those people really need that. So that made me respect him a lot. And if I talk about his work covers a pretty wide range, like political philosophy, anarchism, existentialism, and ethics. His book Death is part of the series called Art of Living, published by Acumen. The purpose of this series is to take big philosophical questions and make them genuinely accessible and readable for anyone, and not just academics. Okay, so make basically they want to make philosophy accessible. Okay, but I read that death is one of the strongest entries in the series, and it is most influential one. So if you want to read all the books in the series, I recommend that you start with Death by Todd May and then read other books in this series called The Art of Living. So before I begin discussing what the book is about, what did Todd May say in the book, I would like to share a fun fact about Todd May, that Todd May was one of the philosophical advisors for the show called The Good Place, which is a very famous show. It was about the good place and the bad place. It was my favorite show. So I watched that show, and I checked that who did they collaborate with for the script, and I found that they collaborated with Todd May. There were other philosophers as well, but I checked Todd May, and I checked his books, and I found that he has a book on death, and I was actually looking for a book on death, and that's how I ended up with this book, and I really enjoyed it. So if you have watched that show, then you have already been introduced to his ideas without knowing it, which is kind of like wild. The core claim of the book is like this. Todd May opens the book by saying that the most important fact about us is the fact that we are going to die. Other things in your life, like where you grew up, what you love, what were your goals that you achieved, all those things matter. They are important. But the most important thing and the most important fact that you know about yourself is that you are going to die. And he says that death is not the end to our story. It's not like it is something that is going to happen at the end and that's all. No, death is influencing each and everything that is happening in our life, that we are doing in our life. Okay, each decision we take, everything we invest our time in, all the relationships that we pursue, all the people we spend time with, even the careers that we choose. Okay, everything. Death has something to do with it. We don't even realize it, we don't pay attention to it, but death does have something to do with it. Because you make your choices knowing that your time is limited. And how do you know that your time is limited? Because you know that you are going to die. And that is why you choose from various options. You have different options and you choose one thing. Okay, whether it's relationship, it's career, it's your friendships, everything. There are lots of choices. Okay, you choose one because you know you have limited time. And why do you do that? Because you know you have limited time, because you know that you're going to die. So death is indeed the most important fact that you know about yourself. And there's another thing that I would like to mention here, if you plan to read this book, is that Todd May says it up front that there is no afterlife. If you are religious and if you find that unsettling, you can avoid this book. But just for the sake of learning what he has to say about death, if you want to read the book, you can. But keep this in mind that he is saying that there is no afterlife, but he discussed religions as well. How do they handle death? And I also think that this approach is better if you want to sit with your own mortality, and if you want to learn how to deal with the fact that you're going to die. It is the better approach. It is the right way to deal with it, knowing that there is, or assuming that there is no afterlife, because you cannot know. I have discussed it in previous video as well. You cannot know for sure anything about death. You can just assume. So assume that there is no afterlife, death is real. Whatever you have is now, and after death there's nothing. And then face it, then sit with it, then accept it. Okay, that's a better way of dealing with your mortality. Because if you are looking at it from a religious perspective, death is kind of invisible. But I will discuss that later on. First, I would like to discuss the different sections of the book. First section of the book is our dealings with death. So in the first section of the book, he talks about how can we sit with death, how can we accept it as a part of our life or as a part of our existence. Because life is not all we have, death is at the end of it. So we are going to experience it one day. We have to accept it as a part of our life. Okay, how can we do that? How can we relate to death? How can we deal with it that we are going to experience it one day? That is what he discusses in section 1. So here he takes a lot from the philosopher Martin Heidegger, and he's a very famous philosopher. And he says that there are 4 things that we need to accept about death if we want to accept it as a part of our existence or as a part of our life. So in order to deal with your mortality in a realistic sense, he says that you have to accept that death is the end. There's nothing after it. As I told you earlier, that Todd May assumes that there is no afterlife. So the first thing he wants you to sit with or to accept is that death is the end of your existence. There's nothing after death. Whatever you have now is all you have. Second thing that he wants you to sit with about death is that death is just a stopping point and nothing else. Death is not the end of some story. Like when you read a story, something happens and you realize that they could not extend the story because that is the end of the story. There is no way they could do something else to keep us engaged with the story. That is where story ends. Death is completely opposite to that, because death can happen in the middle of the story. It's like you're doing something, you're gonna do something, you're gonna for example, you are going to invent the cure for cancer. But before you can do that, you die. That can happen to you, because death is not the end of the story. Death is not some kind of conclusion. Death is just a stopping point. It's just a stoppage. That's the word he uses. That death is just a stoppage. Nothing else. Third thing he wants you to sit with about death is that death is both uncertain and inevitable. Okay, he says that there is no way you can avoid death. There is no way. No one ever avoided death. Everyone who ever lived on this planet died. And the second thing that you need to sit with as a part of it is that it is uncertain. You don't know what is going to happen after death. And this combination makes death very unsettling. And this is the reason people don't like talking about it, because these two facts about death, that it is inevitable, there's no way you can avoid it, and it is uncertain, it makes it very, very disturbing. Because what can you do about something that is going to happen, but you don't know what it is or what is going to happen after it? It's like you're on a journey and you know that there is a stopping point, but you don't know what is waiting there for you. Will there be a dragon? Will there be a fairy? You don't know. Okay, you have no idea. Or will there be nothing? You don't know. You're not going to avoid it, and you don't know what it is. What is going to happen after it? And the fourth thing that he wants us to sit with or contemplate on is that does our life mean anything? Does any of it mean anything? Does our death mean anything? When you are looking for meaning, you go towards spirituality, because science, philosophy, rationality, they do not have any answers when you are looking for meaning. You have to go towards spirituality. So he discussed how religions handle death. So when he talks about Abrahamic religions like Christianity, Islam, Judaism, he says that these religions, they make death invisible. Like there is life after death. Whether you're going to hell, whether you're going to heaven, you're not really dying. You're just changing your form of existence. Okay, you are just like changing the plane of existence. Okay, here you exist on a planet Earth, and there you will exist in heaven or hell. So death is not it happens, but it really doesn't happen, because you get to live on according to those religions. Then he talks about Buddhism as well. Buddhism has different approach when it comes to dealing with death, because in Buddhism there is no heaven or hell, but uh, there is something called wheel of samsara, that he mentioned in the book. And there are two interpretations for this concept, the wheel of samsara. The first interpretation is wheel of samsara is the cycle of desire, the return of desire. So in Buddhism, in order to attain moksha, you have to master detachment by getting rid of desires. Okay, but you cannot get rid of desires completely. Why? Because of wheel of samsara. So according to this interpretation, you can never get rid of desires, because you fulfill one desire and there is another one, then you fulfill that desire and then there is another one. So it's kind of a cycle that you are trapped in it. So when you keep following your desires, you are never really happy, because you think that fulfilling this desire will make me happy, but then you find yourself miserable because there's another desire, and then you're chasing that. So they say that you need to master detachment and get rid of all the desires in order to get out of this cycle. Okay, and then you will attain moksha. Another interpretation of this concept, the wheel of samsara, is the reincarnation. The other interpretation of wheel of samsara is that when you die, you get another life. Okay, you are born again as someone else, and whatever you did in your previous birth, you either get reward for it or you get punished for it, because of your karma, because of your good deeds and bad deeds. You get to live here, and you have to keep getting punished until your soul is completely purified. You have paid for all your bad deeds. Then you attain moksha, and then you get out of this wheel of samsara, this cycle of reincarnation. That is how Buddhism deals with death. Again, it makes death invisible. That is how religions deal with death. But he just discussed it in this book, all of these things, that how religions deal with death, and then he set all these beliefs aside, and he basically encourages his reader to view death without all those things, without assuming all these things, whatever Christianity, Islam, Judaism, or Buddhism have to say about it. He wants you to accept that there's no such thing as afterlife, there's no such thing as wheel of samsara. You're not coming back to this plane again. Whatever you have now is all you have, and death will be your end. It is going to be your end. There's no life after it. Todd May discusses old Epicurean argument as well, that death is nothing to us, because when you exist, death does not exist, and when death exists, you don't exist. So you will not be here. You will not experience anything that comes with death, because you will be gone. So why people fear it? Okay, Todd May is not satisfied with Epicurean argument, because he says that that argument actually misses the point. Okay, it's not satisfactory. And personally, I also think that that argument does miss the point, because as Todd May also says that we do not fear death. We just do not want to lose all the things that mean so much to us, the people around us, the people we care about, the people we love, our projects, our experiences, all these things. We do not wish to lose any of it. And that is why we find death undesirable, because death is the end of all of it. Okay, so that is what Epicurus missed when he made that argument. And I actually agree with Todd May on this. Second section of the book is actually interesting. You might find first section a little bit boring and complicated, but the second section is really, really, really interesting. I found it really interesting, and I really enjoyed second section. It is death and immortality. Like, we are always complaining about death, that it is going to end everything, it is going to take away everything from us, we won't get to live, we will lose everything that we love, we will lose people, we will lose experiences, we will lose anything that we enjoy in our life when we will die. So he discusses what it would be like if there's no death, what life would be like if we are immortals, and surprisingly he says that immortality is worse than death. He makes the case against mortality. He says that death actually makes our life better, and immortality will be something that will make our life completely meaningless, and it will make everything worse. Everything that we enjoy about our life, it is because there is death and life is going to end. But if we take death out of the picture, then there's nothing left to enjoy. Everything is just meaningless. Everything is just like a straight line. And to help us understand his perspective, he uses a story. He brings a story called The Immortal by George Louis Borges. So in this story, Immortal, you get to learn the horrors of immortality. It gives you a completely different picture than what you see in the movies and what you read in the novels about immortality or about vampires, etc. So in this story, there's a man named Marcus who finds that there is a river whose water grants immortality. Like, if you drink from it, you become immortal. So he makes it his mission that he's going to find the river and he's going to drink from it, and he's going to become immortal. Eventually, after a very difficult journey, he finds the river and he basically drowns in it, and he drinks from it and he becomes immortal. On the other side of the river, he finds the city of immortals, where live the people who are immortals. The city looks like it has been abandoned by the immortals because he cannot find real people there. Eventually, he finds a person who is blind and who is a poet, and that person tells him about the horrors of their life, how horrible their life is. Okay, he tells them that life without death is completely meaningless. There is no urgency in anything. If it is not in urgent, whatever you're doing, it is not urgent, then how can it be important? You have all the time to do it, then what makes it important? Another thing he tells him is that they keep repeating the same thing. They start doing something, and they take up a project, they then take up another project, they then, so there are not so many projects that they can take. So eventually they come back to the same projects and they keep repeating the same things again and again and again, and it has created a boredom for them. They are tired of it. They are tired of doing same things again and again. And another thing that poet tells him is that everyone is literally the same person. What makes us unique is our unique projects. If I am a doctor, then I am different than a lawyer. But if I have all the time that there is, then eventually I can become a doctor. Okay, I can become a lawyer. I can become a teacher. I can become a dancer. I can become a singer. So eventually, people are done with everything. People have done everything. Everything that can be done, everyone has done it. So everyone is basically the same person. The identity has been dissolved. So what makes them unique? What gives them their true identity? Nothing. So identity has been dissolved because of immortality. So eventually, in this story, Marcus finds another river that will turn him back into a mortal, and he drinks from it and he becomes a mortal, and then he eventually experiences death because that is better than immortality. Immortality is worse. Okay. Todd May uses this story to tell you that you don't know what life will be if you become immortal. Okay, will you stay young forever? Because if yes, then it's gonna be great. But still, you will have all the time in the world. So you will get bored of it. Eventually, you will lose your identity. Eventually, you will lose your memory because what will be there unique to remember? Okay, there's nothing unique thing that you will remember. So you won't need your memory. Everything will just like go away that makes your life beautiful. Okay, even if you stay young after becoming immortal. He also says that what if you stay immortal but you keep getting older, and there comes a time when you don't have teeth, when you cannot see properly, when all your hair are gone, you have very weak body. What if that is the state you have to live in as an immortal? Will you still accept it over death? So he says that death is actually good for us. It doesn't make anything worse. It makes it actually, death makes everything beautiful. You need death in order to experience the true beauty of life. Otherwise, life is very ugly. Without death, life is very ugly. Third section of the book is living with death. Like, we know that we have to experience death. That was the first section. Second section is that immortality is worse than that death. Now the third section is how do we live with death? Okay, how do we live while we know that we are going to die? That is what the third section is about. In order to help you deal with death, he gives you two examples from the history of two people who, in his opinion, dealt with death in a very good way. And if you want, you can follow their example and learn from them that how to live with your own mortality, how to sit with the fact that you're going to die. So one of them is Roman emperor and a philosopher, Marcus Aurelius. If you are familiar with philosophy, you must be familiar with him. And other example he uses is of a jazz musician called John Coltrane, who is his favorite musician. So Marcus Aurelius was a Stoic philosopher who dealt with his death by being mindful of it at all times. He used to write notes to himself that he is going to die, and he keeps this fact in his mind all the time. And knowing it that he is going to die makes him feel more present. He pays more attention to what he is doing because he knows that maybe in the next moment or maybe the next day he won't get the chance to do it. Taking a walk becomes more meaningful, becomes more enjoyable because he doesn't know if it is his last walk, if he's going to have it another day or not. So that is how Marcus Aurelius dealt with his death, by not ignoring it, by not getting depressed by it, but making it a reason to make every moment, make every day count. Todd May says that we can do that as well. We have to remind ourselves that maybe today I'm sitting here, tomorrow maybe I won't be sitting here. So whatever I'm doing right now, I should enjoy it. I maybe I won't get to do it the next day. Okay, and I know all of us do it, that we think of death as something which is going to happen to someone else and not us. And that is why we are always complaining about what is happening in our life. um, we are not happy with whatever we have in our life. Most of time it is because we have very immature attitude towards death, because we think that we are going to live forever, so our we are going to live with our problems forever. Okay, you today you are unhappy because of your problems, but think about it, maybe tomorrow you won't be there, your problems will be gone with you. Why not, instead of complaining about the problem, you enjoy whatever little you have in your life right now. So when he talks about jazz musician John Coltrane, he says that he was obsessed with his life project, which was becoming the best musician, becoming great. He says that becoming great matters because it makes you unique. Only few people can be great at something. Not everyone can be great. If I decide to be like John Coltrane today, I will not succeed in it because I don't have what he had, intensity. Okay, he used to go into trance while performing on stage. And he kept improving it until he became one of the greatest musicians, and that is what made him a great musician. But how do you become great? Because you know that there are only few projects that you can pursue in your life, and there is only one project that you can pursue obsessively and actually achieve greatness in your life. That is another way of dealing with death. Like, instead of focusing on that you're going to die, all the time that you have while you live, you use it in achieving something, in achieving greatness, in finding your path and becoming obsessed with it. Forget about the end, just like focus on what you can do now and how can you do it best. How can you do it in a way that makes you a person who is never forgotten? Because living is a unique experience. You don't get it after death, but you can become a person who is not forgotten because you were so great that there is no way people can forget you. What you did, what was so unique, was so good that nobody else can do it, so you are never forgotten. So that is another way of dealing with death. So at the end of this section, he brings Taoism here, and he says that we live as the wave of an ocean. A wave of an ocean comes, it rises, and then it goes, because there's another wave coming after it. It also has to rise and it also has to go. So, why is dying important? Because other people has to have to live. If you get to live on and if you get to do everything, what about other people? What will they get to do if you get to do everything? You have to die because other people have to live. Death gave other people an opportunity to pursue what you could not pursue, what you could not do. It gives other people an opportunity to do it. It gives other people to bring their experience, their skills to your projects. Okay, and you cannot have that if you don't have death. In the end, he says that instead of thinking about death and getting depressed, you should invest all your time, invest all your energy in your relationships and in your projects. Okay, try to give your best to your projects and to your relationships, because there will be something that you will not be able to do. You planned your projects, but you don't know if you are going to finish it. So whatever time you have, and as long as you get to work on your projects, give your best. And also your relationships, you don't know you are going to die, or other people you have relationships with, they are going to die. So whatever time you have with people, give it your best, make the best out of it, and try to live good moments with the people you love, or the people you care about. Make good memories. Have something good to remember about the people around you. So that is how you should deal with death, by living every day like it's your last, like there is no tomorrow. That is the end of the book. Now I will talk about what I think about the book. I actually loved this book. I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, because before reading it, like all the other people, I used to think that death is very depressing. Death is like, oh my god, like it makes us cry, and um there is no good side to death. But with the story of Immortal and with his own arguments, I came to know that how ugly life can be without death. Okay, death serves a purpose, and it's a good purpose, it's not a bad purpose. Death makes life meaningful. Death is important. We should not complain about it. We should accept it, because it is the only reason we enjoy life. We get to live life. Otherwise, we would be just spending our life. We would not be living it. Okay. Um, the sense of life comes from the sense of death. Okay. There is no idea of life without the idea of death. And that is not something that is a problem, it is something that fixes the problem. It is what makes life beautiful. Okay. Knowing that and understanding that with the help of his book was illuminating for me. Okay. And there's something he wrote in the book that I did not mention while discussing the book, is that human beings are the only mortal creature. Okay. All the other creatures, the animals and all other creatures, they are not truly immortal, not in a biological sense. Like biologically all of us are mortals, because we're going to die, all of us are going to die, everyone experiences death. But in a philosophical way, only human beings have the knowledge of death. Okay, we carry it around with ourselves, we live with it, but other creatures don't. Like think about your dog. Okay, your dog does not lay awake at night thinking about its death, what will happen when it will die, how will its family deal with its death, or what will come after that. Your dog doesn't think things like that. You do. They get a sense of death only when they are in an immediate danger, there's a predator or there's a threat, then they realize they're gonna die. Other than that, they live as a immortal, as there's no death. So the truly immortal creature is only one, and that is humans. We carry this weight, we live with it, we know that we are going to die. Still we live the life. We don't refuse to live the life. We don't stay in our bed depressed that, oh, we are going to die. We have relationships, we make careers, we do everything knowing this. And that is what makes us like unique, truly unique, is the knowledge of death. And I really loved that. It was like, it was something that stayed with me after reading this book. So if you want to learn how to live with your own mortality, how to accept death as a part of your existence, and how to actually live with the fact that you are going to die, you should read this book. This book is an eye opener. Okay, and it you will learn a lot from this book. And I could not cover everything from the book, obviously, because there is a lot in the book, but book is really short. It is like 116 pages, and you can finish it easily if you are an avid reader. Even if you are a beginner, you can finish it easily because it is very short. But because of the content of the book, you might need to go slow, read it slowly, so that you can actually think about everything that you're reading. And there's so much that I had to skip, and I had to leave, because I cannot discuss everything from book. So you should yourself read book in order to understand what Todd May is trying to help you understand about death. Okay, so definitely read it, and let me know what are your thoughts about whatever I discussed in the video. And you can also give me suggestions on what I can discuss next on this channel. And if you like the video, you can show the appreciation in the comment section as well. You can share the video with the people who are interested in this subject. Okay, and that was all from my side. I will see you next time with a new video. Until then, bye bye.